Okay. Good evening. It's Wednesday evening and it's just after 7 o'clock, so it's time for Keto Confab. I'm Elizabeth Hanson and I'm your host along with my husband, Scott Hanson. And we are here to meet together and support each other along our path of a keto lifestyle, understanding ourselves and our diet and food and how we react to it, and following the teachings of Dr. Annette Bosworth. And so if you have a question, there come a time for questions. We just want people to share, how they're doing along their journey, any ideas they have, and just help each other and support each other in this kind of lifestyle. So last week in our meeting, we talked a little bit. One of our members had a question about how do we not lose muscle mass when we're, eating a restrictive diet like we are. And I actually stumbled upon a video that talks about this. I'm trying to bring it up. It's a rather long video. It's about an hour long, and it's with Dr. Jason Fung and also another doctor, I can't remember his name, on his channel. Just a second, trying to do something here. Come on. Anyway, it's called Intermittent Fasting for Weight Loss, and he goes keto lifestyle to lose weight and to get healthy. Don't lose muscle mass. And the one statement out of the whole video, and I'll link the video link in with the replay of this video. The one statement out of the video that really caught my attention is he says, all of those people who were kept in prison camps or Auschwitz and stuff and were starved, for food, and it wasn't a healthy environment. You never saw it sagging skin on any of them because basically they weren't really given any sugars or carbs other than rice usually or potatoes. And none of them had all this hanging skin. And he says it's crazy when you do the surgery, the bariatric surgery with the sleeve or the band or the bypass, all of those people end up having to have major skin removal, on their arms, on their legs, stomach, hips, on their backs, pretty much everywhere. Because the diet that you have to have once you've had that surgery makes it nearly impossible for you to get the kind of nutrients and fats and everything that you need to lose the weight and shrink the skin, the autophagy that you need. So it was a really good talk, and it really spoke to that question we had from last week. Then two other bonus videos I saw from this week. One was about high blood pressure. And, our doctors will tell us when we have high blood pressure that we need to be taking this medication and everything to, bring our blood pressure down. And that's all fine and good. And that if we don't bring our blood pressure down, we're going to be damaging our heart and our blood vessels. And this research that's reported on this video says that what they found is that light exercise, such as swimming or walking or dancing or things like that, actually help the body produce a particular protein, or what's it, an enzyme? Okay, a protein or an enzyme that actually goes in and heals heart tissue and circulatory, artery tissue. And so, they were talking about if you have hypertension, the best thing to do is to not only go on a ketogenic diet, and get enough sleep and drink enough water, blah, 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 and everything. But you need to have the exercise of walking or swimming or dancing, some kind of exercise, but not stressful exercise like sprinting, isn't good. You know, P90X or Tybo and stuff, really stressful things aren't good. It's the sustained, slow walking or dancing, that really helps the body produce this healing enzyme or protein. And so I found that very interesting. And I'll link that video in when I put up this replay. The other video I saw, there were two videos I wanted to highlight on cholesterol, because some of us have concerns about our cholesterol. And one of them is speaking directly to the LDL, the bad cholesterol, and how a lot of doctors want to try and lower it with statin drugs. But we've now been using statin drugs for more than 20 years here in the United States, and there is no research to support them. And in fact, more damage has been done by lowering the LDL. And he goes through, if you really, really, really want to investigate your cholesterol more, you need to do more than just doing fasted blood work. Because fasting blood work is not the way we live our lives. Most humans don't live in fasting all the time. And so they do it fasting so that they have a baseline, and they know that everyone that's had that test was fasting, so they can see, like what's a fasting baseline. But the thing is for you individually, you need to have cholesterol testing that is done after a meal or first thing in the morning, to see what your body does after eating. The other thing he goes into is that there are other enzymes and proteins and lipids, microlipids, that they can test to see if you're a particular body type that needs to adjust, other things in your metabolism. And so it's not just cut and dry LDL, HDL, total carbohydrates, and triglycerides. There are other lipids that need to be looked at and that are important. And statin drugs do not do what they were advertised to do. The other one that I listened to this week was about how the triglycerides are the true factor in the cholesterol panel that really tells us whether you're more likely to have a heart attack or not. And so looking at the LDL is useless, total cholesterol, even your HDL, not a helpful number. It's the triglyceride number that's important. So those were the things I listened to this week that were very keto adjacent, because I'm always looking at things about cholesterol, because my cholesterol is just over what my doctor wants it to be. And every time I talk to her, she wants me to go on statins, and I'm like, no. And my blood pressure is really bad, and I can have times when it will spike if I've eaten wrong, or not exercised for a few days, or didn't get enough sleep. So I like to know as much as I can about these things. So anyway, other than that, our week was good. I did try something new this week. Our little grocery store in town has a sugar-free type of ice cream, and I don't even think I told Scott about this. It's got a sugar-free type of ice cream. It uses mannitol or something. Can't remember. And I decided to get some of it and experiment with it and see what it did to my blood sugar. And it's amazing. It does not spike my blood sugar. I mean, a regular yogurt spikes my blood sugar more than ice cream. And so that's exciting. But my problem is it only comes in a large container. It doesn't come in a small one. So then it's available and it's like, oh, I want to eat all of it. And no, I shouldn't eat all of it. But I had a regular serving like I would want to eat as a normal human being. And did not spike my blood sugar. A candy bar spikes my blood sugar more than a bowl of this ice cream. And so I have some, Scott, I'll share with you if you want to try it. Anyway, so that was the only other thing about our week. I'll show you something. Let me get it up on the screen. Okay, now I'll share my screen with you so you can see it. Because some of you, okay, how do I share the screen? Screen share. Oh no, it's over here. Can you all see my screen?
There we go.
Yeah, there it is. Okay.
Fire.
Yeah, do you see the fire?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna stop sharing. And I'm gonna make it shut up. Because now it's being noisy. Okay. That was our afternoon on Sunday. That is the American Legion Hall, 3 doors south of us on the same street. And it caught on fire and that was exciting. And scary, but they finally got it under control the next day. They thought they had it under control, but it flared up several times, a couple times, once during the night and then 2 times the next day, but they have it under control. But it's a total loss. Anyway, so that was our week. How was everybody else's week? No one want to talk this week? No. Snicker, how are you?
He wanted my food, so he's been sitting down next to me because he's been wanting my food. I gave him his food, but he's a picky eater, or he eats on his own schedule. He'd rather have my food than his food.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
now he's over here sniffing.
our dog wants her food and our food.
Yeah.
And she doesn't care whether it's ice cream or eggs or steak or bananas. She wants our food and her food.
He wants me, he sits up here and he wants me to scratch his back like this. So anyway, I'm quite sad and I don't know what I'm exactly going to do, but I've gained 10 pounds this year and I've got to reverse that before it's too much more. And maybe 10 pounds is maybe more than just this calendar year and maybe October. So I'm sad. I've got to decide how to handle that. Stop it. What I want to do. I mean, I knew that I was eating a lot of keto treats because I have a keto bakery and keto restaurant down the street, and she makes keto desserts, and I eat a lot I was eating a lot of those for a period of 2 or 3 months. So I've cut that back, no more keto treats. And so I know it's a matter of counting carbs, and I have done a lot of fasting. Pat, who is usually here, is my doesn't she do the fasting?
Mhm.
So I've been trying to decide what I want to do. I'm going on a cruise next month, so I know, I mean, I'm not gonna, my sister goes on the cruises and she just forgets whatever her way of eating is. I mean, she's somewhat keto. She just says, okay, well, in my 7 days on the cruise, I'm eating what I want, but I am not gonna do that. I mean, I'm not, because every bite you take that is sugar or carbs, you have to fight that when you come back, you know? And she's fine with that because I mean, that's her. I am not gonna be like that, and I'm not gonna eat whatever I want, whenever I want, you know, like she does, and drinks. She does drinks too. So that's next month. That's in about a month from now. Actually, a month from now, I'll be on the boat. Oh yeah, I will be on the boat. So I'm just kind of depressed, and not depressed, but I'm just kind of sad and know that I have to turn something around. And when I first started with Dr. Boz, I was very strict. You know, I wrote down and weighed everything I put in my mouth. Well, you know, after you lose 40 pounds, 40, 50 pounds, you know, and I get to maybe where I could be happy, then you just kind of get lax and you start, you know, eating the keto treats. I would never have eaten those at the beginning. So it's just, I just have to figure out how I want to do. And the other thing, you know, you have those sugar-free things that you can squirt in your water and drink. And, you know, there are no calories, so they say, and there's no carbs per serving, but there's 24 servings in that little jar that's only like this big. So really, I really wonder how many carbs are in the whole thing. Now, they're never going to tell you that, because then you will know that it has how many carbs, but it has to, let's say there's 24 servings in there. And if they have, is it under 1 carb, they can just say none, or is it under like a half a carb? So I don't know what that is, but I got to figure there's some carbs in that whole bottle, but I drink a gallon of that stuff like every day. I take it to work, and I drink it every day. So I think I may have to try not drinking that.
Yeah, that might be your strategy, you know.
You drink a gallon of that every day?
What?
You drink a gallon of that every day?
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of water.
Yeah, I mean,
it's drink water besides.
No.
Oh.
I just drink these all day because they're nice and sweet and flavored nicely. I usually make it myself. So let's say you have one of those little grape things. That's great. So I put water. Sometimes I make tea, and that's my base. And then I fill it up with water and ice. And then I put just lemon, no lemon juice and then I put, I don't know, however much I dump in there. And then I'll squirt it with the grape and, you know, mix it all up. So it's tea and lemon and then grape. And you just squirt it in there until you get to the flavor you want. And then, you know, and then I drink that. And I have a container that has 88 ounces in it that I take to work every day, and whatever's left over, you know, I save it for when I get home. So, but I'm thinking that is a problem for me. It may not, you know, and another doctor that I follow in another course that I took, you know, those kind of sugar-free drinks are all allowed. And, but just because they're allowed for most of the people doesn't mean they're suitable for all of the people.
Yeah.
And what is fine for some people may not be fine for me. So I guess it's just has to be an experiment that you give it up and see what happens.
Reminds me, one of my girlfriends, she decided to give up her Crystal Light. She drank Crystal Light, you know, 0 calorie or whatever, Crystal Light every day, all day, different flavors. And she decided 1 year for Lent, for the 6 weeks of Lent, she was giving up the Crystal Light. so she gave up the Crystal Light. She lost 33 pounds in those 6 weeks. And she was like, but Crystal Light is supposed to be healthy and hydrating and 0 calorie. What the heck? But she lost 33 pounds in those 6
I
weeks.
think Crystal Light is just like my stuff. I mean, I could have Crystal Light in my drinks too, but I believe that if you read the ingredients, you will see concentrated white grape juice. Now, you know that concentrated white grape juice in that little bottle is sugar. So, and then they have other things that are sweeteners too. And some of the artificial sweeteners have calories and some don't. So how many grams of carbs is actually in the whole thing? Not per serving. I want to know how many is in my whole container.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to tell you that because they don't want you to know. They label it so it can be 0 carbs and they put just that amount of sugar in it to be able to label it 0 carbs and 0 calories per serving. I know the tricks, but it's that way with any food label though. You know, they label it to be 1 carb and maybe it's 1.8 really, or, you know, whatever kind of food, you know, they label it to follow the rules, but they will push it right to the limit on some of those things.
That reminds me, we did a grocery pickup at Walmart this week, and we had ordered like, I don't know, 10 or 15.
Sucralose and some other sweetener I don't recognize.
Pardon?
I think it was background talking.
Oh, okay. We had ordered a bunch of riced cauliflower, frozen riced cauliflower. And so like an hour or so before Scott was picking it up, I got a notification that there was a substitution. They didn't have all the riced cauliflower. So they were substituting it with keto fat bombs, frozen keto fat bombs. I'm like, how could that even be a substitution for riced cauliflower? I'm like, no. And part of me was like, well, maybe I'd like to try one of them. And I'm like, no, because then I saw on the front of the package that they were touting only 2 carbs a serving. And I'm like, yeah, those are net carbs because it was all chocolatey and everything. And I'm like, no, So anyway, go ahead, Wilma.
I was just going to say I got my Mile Energy Liquid Water Enhancer out, and it says I scanned it into my chronometer, and it says a serving is 3/4 of a teaspoon of 4 ml. So if you want to do like a gallon of that, that'd be about 10 servings. Let's see. I had it and I lost it. It was like 5 carbs for 10 servings of it.
Oh, I'll have to get out my chronometer and scan my barcodes. Let me, hold on. Just a second.
My daughter left the kitchen, so I'm going to show you the ice cream. I don't want her to know I have it in here because she doesn't have the ability to know when to stop. She would eat the entire container, so we don't let her know if we have something sweet in the house. So this is the brand. And it's 19 carbs for 2/3 of a cup, but I didn't eat 2/3 of a cup. But if I wanted to save all my carbs all day and just eat meat and eggs all day, then I could have a regular 2/3 of a cup. But it's pretty tasty. And they had a cookies and cream brand, but it had wheat in it, and I can't have wheat. But anyway.
Show me the package again. Do you got it? What kind is it?
Yeah, just a second. What did you say, Kim?
What kind is it? Highland? No
Yeah,
sugar
Highland.
added ice cream.
Mm-hmm. got milk, cream, buttermilk, sorbitol, pecans, locust bean, gargum, sucralose, and vegetable annatto for color. It's sucralose, not, and the thing is, some artificial sweeteners will cause me to have diarrhea, and this didn't, so. And
Oh, oh no, look at this. So my strawberry crush.
yeah,
So I scanned it and I just did 10 servings because that's what Wilma said. And it says it's 20 carbs.
oh, by itself. Oh, no.
See, I knew I was in trouble with these, but I didn't know. And I'm glad she told me to scan it and put in a whole pile of servings because if I change it to one serving, let me see, one serving is one carb. But they don't tell you that. They tell you no carbs. Oh, they do tell you one. It must be, some of them are zero. I shouldn't. And you just think one, oh, well, that's one, but you know, you don't have just one. There's 24 servings in the whole thing. So there's 24 carbs in the whole thing. But the chronometer says, if I put in 24 servings, like the whole bottle, it says that the whole bottle would be, let's see, where's the whole bottle? Well, they say 24 carbs. Oh, no, the 20, okay, it is one carb per serving. So I would have to figure out, my 20 was wrong. My 20 was how many I'm allowed for the day. I didn't look at, like, it was probably 10 out of 20. Okay.
How many ounces does it say to put, how much water to put with each whatever amount?
It doesn't. But 24, oh, squeeze in 8 ounces of water.
Okay, one squeeze and 8 ounces of water.
One squeeze, that's supposed to be a serving size. So one squeeze, it says a serving size is 2 milliliters, but it's probably hard to. And so if I'm making a gallon, I don't make it as sweet. They make it super sweet, I bet, because I think one squeeze and 8 ounces would be so sweet. I couldn't stand it.
Yeah. How many squeezes do you put into your container?
Well, let me tell you that it's a long squeeze. And you would not be able to get 24 of them out of there. So I guess I should measure how many times I use it.
Yeah.
So I know, so I have a better idea. Have a better idea of actually how many, but still this one is one, but this one has 0 carbs. So not all of them. I don't always have the crush. I got Kool-Aid brand grape and it says 0 carbs. So let me see if I can scan this one. It's what it says.
Yeah, where I get hit is I look at how many carbs, but then I don't look at how many servings are supposed to be, and I think of the packages, oh, 1 serving, oh, 6 carbs, yay. No, they've decided there are 3 servings in that package, and they get you.
I usually on things, I calculate how much is for the whole container. And then, because you may not eat the whole serving. No, I buy a Lily's, stop it. I get a Lily's chocolate bar and then I look at it and say it's 46. It's 46 carbs for the whole thing. And then I count up how many little squares are in it. So then I say it's 2 carbs a square. And then you can just eat 2 or 3 and you'll have a better idea of how many carbs are in what you're eating. I have a food scale I use all the time too, but sometimes it's just easier just to kind of divide it out. Let's say there's 24 little squares and it's 48. So it's 2, per whatever. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way. But or ice cream, I would calculate how much it is for the whole thing and then put it on a food scale and say, I only want this much today. And then, you can figure out your carbs. Because it's 50 for the whole thing and you're only eating, how many grams you're measuring out.
Yeah, well, with that container, it says 2/3 a cup is 19 carbs, and I only ate half a cup.
I know, but how many servings are in the container?
Oh, I don't know, and I hid it back in the freezer
Yeah,
again.
that's fine. So you take your 19 times how many servings are in there, and then you say, oh, well, it's so many ounces or so many grams, and then I use a food scale and say, well, I'm gonna have 20 grams today, and 20 grams is a percentage of the whole thing, and you know how many carbs you ate.
Mhm.
I mean, there's different ways you do it. That's just, I have a food scale and I measure a lot of things in grams because it's so much, it's so
Yeah,
exact.
Scott's a grams person. I'm still an ounce person.
I know, but on my food scale, you just change it to grams.
Oh, yeah, we have one that does that too.
And it's much more accurate on your measuring, because ounces, you just go 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. And how many things can you put in there to make it before you have to, make it
Mhm.
switch? But grams just goes really quick, you
Yeah.
put one more little drop in there and it weighs something different, So it's whatever you want to use.
Yeah, yeah. And Scott's, Mr. Scientist man. And so he's used to grams all the time. But
If you
I
ask me
don't-
how much 30 grams is, I wouldn't know. I have to get this, I
No.
don't know. I have no idea how much 30
have no
grams weighs.
idea
I have to
either.
put it on a scale.
But I
We'll look it over
know
now.
what an ounce of liquid in a bottle looks like. That,
Yeah.
that's my thing. I know what an ounce of liquid looks like. Or about a half a cup of rice. I know what that looks like, but I don't know what 100 grams of rice is.
I know. I mean, I agree with that. So it's hard to,
But I don't eat rice anymore. I used to eat rice every day, lots of rice every day, but rice really does in my blood sugar worse than ice cream.
I just threw away a container that had rice in it. And I asked my husband if he was ever going to make the rice, and he said no, and I threw it away. I got another container because I don't. They can
Yes.
sit in there, but I just threw it away. We might be moving, so I've been trying to clean out stuff. And even if I'm not moving, it's good to clean out stuff.
So Christine, how have you been? We haven't seen you for a few weeks.
I know, so I was getting confused about all my different support groups. So I'm new to the support group thing. So I've been trying to get to them. I signed up to the groups and I was like, all right, what night was that? Like, I thought you guys were last night. It's like, oh no, wrong night. So I'm good. I've still been figuring things out. So I've been keto probably for like 3 years, but I just started adopting a stricter and like a Dr. Boss type keto since April, and came to the revelation that as strict as I am, I'm not losing weight, and I'm chasing a diagnosis and will be seeing my doctor soon. It looks like I might be someone that has lipedema, which will make it more challenging to lose weight, but so I'll need to adjust some things. But that being said, my goals right now, trying to learn how to fast. And, this is the second week in a row I've gotten to like, 22, 26 hour fast. And I know technically Dr. Boss doesn't call those fasts until you get to 36, but for me, it's kind of like a whole day. So my goal is to get into some regular successful fasting, because that's where I saw my results about starting to move the scale. I mean, I've been doing keto so long, and I wake up in the morning and my blood sugar is over 100 and my ketones are at a 3, right? And just within the last 2 weeks of starting to fast, and actually, I'm doing the 20 carbs thing, but what I changed my rules on how I get my carbs, and I am not getting any carbs from beverages. And all of my carbs are incidental throughout the day. So all of my target foods are 0 to no carbs, just so that I can achieve 20 carbs, because I feel like they creep in on you. And one of my primary fat sources, is cream or cream cheese or things like that, because dairy doesn't bother me. But, it's trying to find that what works for me, like you all trying to figure out what works for you. I'm trying to figure out like what's the thing that's going to make the numbers move in the right direction? And just, I am trying to be super strict on for myself, what I've committed to doing for that day, right? So it's not really about strict on the diet, but it's about, I committed to doing this for today, or I planned to fast and I'm going to do that. And then, but it's hard, there's a lot of mind games going on.
Trust me, I know about the mind games. And I know about the lymphedema issue. My sister had really severe lymphedema, and I tend to go that way. And one of the things that fed into my lymphedema was corn and wheat and all the grains, except for rice. Rice didn't seem to cause a problem,
Yeah.
or barley. Barley and rice didn't seem to cause a problem, but
It's funny
So-
you say that, because I knew I had a celiac problem, so I've been gluten-free for a long time. But I think within the last year or two, I noticed that corn was giving me trouble, so I just stopped eating it. So
Mhm.
I didn't know that corn would potentially inflame that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, we have autistic children, and so we took them gluten-free 20 years or more ago.
Mhm.
And we went basically gluten-free for the most part, but I still loved my toast, gotta have some toast, and but I just was swelling and swelling so much. And I saw my sister, and I mean her legs and hips and everything got huge,
Yeah, it's painful.
and mine were getting bigger and bigger, but then when I went gluten-free, it was better. But then when I cut out corn and barley, just stuck to the rice, I was fine. But my blood sugars don't like rice, do not
Oh,
like.
right.
So, yeah. So anyway, so it's 20 till. Have we exhausted ourselves yet? Anybody have any questions or any other comments or anything?
I wanted to comment on the LDLs and the HDLs. From what I remember, the conventional wisdom was, and maybe still is, that the LDL, the low density lipoprotein, and the HDL, the high lipid protein. So the conventional wisdom is that the LDL is what causes blockage in the arteries, or what accumulates in the arteries or causes blockage in the arteries, but the HDL actually cleans out the LDL and prevents the LDL from blocking the arteries. And maybe that's changed now,
No, that's what they're still saying, but there are other lipids that act on the built up plaques and stuff,
yeah.
and they don't test any of them. So how are you getting a picture of really what your lipids are doing if you're only testing 3 lipids out of 10,
Oh, okay.
And by the way, 10 was a random number. I don't know how many lipids there really are.
Okay.
But yeah, so so the body does have a way to repair itself and heal itself. We just need to find what our body needs to help that along, So Melody, any questions this week? Oh, I did watch a video about what if you only have eggs for your protein? And it was pretty interesting, and I think I'll link it on this video as well when I put the replay on, because it was pretty interesting. And I know Melody is a vegetarian, and she probably gets sick of eggs. And I have a niece that's doing keto, and she's a vegetarian as well, and she's probably sick of eggs too. But man, I love my eggs every day. I really do. I just wish I could figure out more ways to make them, but I really like them. I like them fried, sunny side up, and I like them scrambled, and I like them in an omelet with some olives, yum. Some green olives without the pimentos. I found a brand of green olives that don't bother me. They don't make me swell. So I have to think that the olives I was eating before, it must be one of the additives or preservatives or something they were using that were causing the problem. But I finally found a brand, and it's yummy. It's available through Walmart online. I didn't see it when I was in a Walmart, but you can order it. And they wouldn't let us put it in our grocery pickup thing. So anyway, Christine, I like your background.
So it is a background. It's just one of these wallpapers I found somewhere, but yeah, it makes me happy when I see it. It's a bright, looks like somebody's sunroom, I think.
Yeah, and are they in the mountains there or something?
They must be up high because you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm one of these people. I love to find these backgrounds that make me feel like I'm someplace else.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that looks like a real nice place to be, man.
Right?
I'd like to be there. Now, a
I'm
lot of
actually
people-
in my very messy den, so this is a better
Well,
look.
I'm in my messy dining room with my laundry cabinet behind, and the door is broken off, so I've moved it so it covers most of the offensive stuff. So,
So can I ask how often do you all fast at all, or do you guys like have intermittent? Do you have like eating times or any of that?
well, for me, I usually I strive to eat by 7 o'clock at night, but a
Mm.
lot of times I don't get done until 8 or 9.
Mhm.
And then I usually do not eat anything until after 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And then again, I'm trying to be done by 7.
Right, yeah.
Don't, so I try to have a 4 or 5 hour window. I have to get back to fasting. I used to fast 36 hours at least once a week, but I haven't done that for, well, since October last year, because I had COVID and I just messed with my groove. And I haven't gotten back into it, but I need to get back into it. Tammy, do you do any fasting? I can't remember.
Well, when I first started, I did lots of fasting, and then as time went by, I've stopped. And there's another issue that I, used to do when I was losing 50 pounds, and then I kind of stopped. So yes, I do need to get back to that, and I should. So yes,
Okay. Well,
I should be doing
maybe
it.
we should all try and work on our fasting pack. Now, I know Wilma does a lot of fasting. I think, Wilma, aren't you the one that does a 72 each week, or you were doing a 72 each week?
Yeah, last year I did 10 72 hours, and this year I think I did 10 or 12, and then went on vacations and then came back and I started doing 42-hour fast, eating in 4 hours, and then go back into a 42-hour. But this month with all the vacations, I'm not fasting except I eat 2 meals a day, but I have my fatty coffee about 9 in the morning, so I have to count that as my eating period. Then I eat lunch around 1 o'clock, and I'm done eating by 5. But with my fatty coffee, I have to count it in my eating window.
Yeah.
I bow down 72 hours. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'm gonna try.
It took me a long time before I could do that.
I'm like you, Christina. Christina, I would love to get to 72 because, hey, that frees you up. You don't have to be looking for food, but I'm unfortunately a grazer, I want to chew on something. But finally, I did find a brand of those pork skins with salt that are crunchy and they don't have that smell to them. And they have no carbs and no calories but fat. They have some fat. And so I have been eating on those. Now with a bag of corn chips or potato chips, I would have eaten the whole bag or half of the bag. With these, I stop after a while. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm done chewing. But yeah, I bow down to Wilma and her
I know.
72s.
That's
Because-
cool.
Yeah, because I would love to do that sometime. Anyway, well, if nobody else has any other comments or questions or snide remarks or anything, I'll call the meeting to an end and stop the recording and wish you all a really good week. And we'll see you next Wednesday for Keto Confab. And everybody have a good week and
Thank
and
you.
have no fires next week.
Fires.